Welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Eric Bowling. Big news today with General Motors on Wall Street. We've got an all-star panel on the left. Fox News contributor Alan Combs will be with us in a few minutes. Radio talk show host David Webb is here, and founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa. I'm going to start with you guys real quickly. Curtis, what do you think of this deal?
Thinking General Lee, $9 million. What happened to that Pontiac GTO? What happened in General Motors? How come the little guy and the little gal in America get screwed again? This is like what you call the double pump. I
think so, too. David, how about you?
First
of all, let me just tell you, if you watch TV, if you watch the media today, mainstream media says, wow, huge success. What do you think?
No, it's a big failure. We give them a $45 billion tax break a few weeks ago, and then we turn around and we give them a chance to use taxpayer money, and we don't get to invest.
Right, exactly. Bingo. Well, we do because we're already in it. We've invested a ton of money. Let me show you what we've actually done. Here we go. Taxpayer, $50 billion goes directly into GM. We bail them out. It goes bankrupt. The bondholders get zilcho. Bail GM out. UAW puts $0 into this deal. Look what comes out of the other side of this IPO. Your share, $12 billion. You put 50 in, taxpayer. You got 12 back. You lost $38 billion. How about this? UAW put nothing in. They'll take $4 billion. Thank you very much. And China, David Webb talks about it. China, Saudi Arabia, other sovereign wealth funds did okay in the deal, too. They'll make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. So at the end of the day, GM left afloat. This, my friends, is socialism. That's not free market capitalism. Nothing like free market capitalism. GM should have let them go bankrupt, let them come back as a new GM out of bankruptcy, not out of a bailout. Okay, my first guest, liberal radio talk show host Nancy Skinner. Nancy, I've known you a long time, kid. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that you think this was a good thing. Am I right?
Eric, come on. This is capitalism at its best. There was a meltdown of the economy. And, you know, I was not the cheerleader for the auto industry for many, many years. But what happened, there's an IPO right now, and the Treasury's going to get $13.6 billion back on their investment. GM has paid back all of their loans. The Chevy Volt is coming out. You can't even get those things. The UAW, it's not true to say that they did nothing. They were owed health care. They took huge concessions. Everybody won in this deal.
Numbers are wrong, kid. $50 billion the Treasury put into this company. We're getting 12. At today's price, we'll get about $12.5 billion back. That's a $38 billion loss. Let me just show you what that turns into in money, okay, Nancy? Let's say, Nancy, you loan me this $100 bill. Nice, Chris Benjamin, right? You say, Bowling, I'll loan you that $100 bill. I'll give it to you. You know, just pay me back with whatever you can. This is the GM deal. Here's what I'm giving you back. Here it is, right here, Nancy. 25 bucks. $25. Here it is. Yeah. $25. That's what you get back. You give me 100, I give you 25. That's a good deal.
Eric,
how long before you're broke if you keep doing this with me?
Put this in context. At that point, the big three, because their supplier network was so interconnected, and not even Ford, who didn't take money, wanted it because all the suppliers would have gone bankrupt, and that would have involved all the dealers and all the commercial real estate and ad revenues to TV networks. At that point, the investment in
Nancy Skinner, you're assuming that you're assuming that if GM went into a real bankruptcy, not a government-sponsored bankruptcy, that they would stop selling cars. But that's not the way it works. There are companies that have been in bankruptcy, Chapter 7 bankruptcy for years, and they operate. They still sell cars. Suppliers will still be selling supplies to the car makers, whoever it may be, Ford, GM, Ford, Chrysler, the conglomerates. There may be deals that make these companies healthier.
No, but these companies had technology in the pipeline. The Chevy Volt's coming out this month. 260 miles per gallon, all electric vehicle. You can't even get one of these vehicles. We have had this in the pipeline for a long time. So now all the loans are paid back. All the loans, okay?
Nancy,
this is now the government's share of debt.
Your loans aren't paying back.
And now
loans aren't paid back. Don't say that, please. You're giving my audience the wrong impression.
33%.
Loans are not paid back. They still owe the taxpayer $50 billion. As the taxpayer, as the Treasury sells our share of GM, the money will come back. But I'm telling you, it's not all coming back.
So it was 60%, and with today, it started at $33 a share. It's up to $35. With today's IPO,
we're only losing $38 billion so far, Nance. That's
33%. How is that not success, Eric? to go from 60% to 33%
We
and have a
lost
vibrant industry.
$38 billion
Michigan has revived.
out of 50
the country
so far.
has revived.
Skinner,
And it's coming back.
Skinner,
and
I
they're
love
making
you.
better
I've been doing
products.
this a long time. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. I'm going to say thank you very much. Appreciate your time, Nance. Bring it out to the panel. David, if you keep loaning me 100 and I give you 25 back, eventually you're going to be broke.
Yeah, eventually you get a nice crisp set of hundreds, and you're the Chinese, the other investors who then get to play with that money and grow it or not. But she's even missing the other point. 50 billion, 45 billion in tax breaks. We're actually 45 billion on top of that. So we're minus $82 billion right now if we get 13 back. Add on top of that, she mentions the big three. Chrysler, $570 million engine plant in Mexico. There goes taxpayer bailout. Ford doesn't take anything. They're actually working their way back. Supply chain would have survived. Here's an idea for GM. Do what Kmart did. They went into protection. They redid their model. They came out.
Curtis, let me just read this real quick. Nancy Pelosi puts a statement out late this afternoon. Says GM's initial public offering, a sign of progress for America's auto industry and our nation's workers. I think she's talking about the UAW.
Well, let me get to the sweets into the streets. I'm a guy, I don't have a job. I go for a payday loan just to survive. You think they'd let me get away with paying back only $25 on the $100? No, they're going to give me a vigor like 138% points in the street. So how is it that Nancy Skinner and the rest can run a spin that we're actually doing well when we've only gotten 1/4 of what we gave them?
Nancy, I hear we still have you on satellite. I hope that's true. Nancy, if you're there, if you're listening, how is this a win? We're still trying to figure out from here in New York how this is a win. Maybe in Michigan it's a win, but it's certainly not a win here in New York.
No, because the auto industry built America to be the great, the superpower that it is. And they were all interconnected with all their suppliers and the dealers in commercial real estate. So had we not bailed them out, even Ford, okay, we would have seen a much more terrific collapse economically. And all of them now have used this money, they've gotten new management, new products, and they're lean and green, and they're growing, and they're paying that money back.
I'll let you get it. I want Dave's going to jump in here real quick, but it seems like the biggest winner of all this, the only group that put no money in and got money out, it wasn't the bondholders, it wasn't the shareholders, it wasn't the taxpayer, it was the UAW, Nance.
Well, the UAW, they were owed this money. These are contracts. Everyone talks about you can't nullify contracts. So what they did is the UAW took so many haircuts, and they said, we'll pay for our own health care. Just give it to us in something called Viva. They took major concessions. The automakers will agree that they did it, that the UAW came to the table and did every concession. Now, did that happen on Wall Street? No. They wanted every dollar of
another story completely,
bonus
another
that they
segment
got,
for another day.
That did not happen.
I want to stay on the GM IPO. Let's stay on it. Go ahead, guys. Who wants
Here's one of the false flags in her argument and in the left argument. These suppliers weren't all bound just to GM or Chrysler. They were supporting Toyota. They were selling to everybody. So while they may lose a portion of their business, they don't lose all of their business. False flag argument, too many fumes in Detroit.
But also, Eric, if you don't pony up with dough like the UAW didn't, it's called sweat equity. You give your labor so that you can maintain your job and your benefits. That's a fair trade at that point because your company's still afloat. But you walk away with $4 billion. Where was your investment?
So far, $4 billion. It could be more. David, I want to take you to task a little bit on your assessment. If GM goes into bankruptcy, why would GM cars stop? Why would the sales of GM cars go down? Who's getting?
Nobody can say that they would. They would still have inventory to sell off. This is the problem.
But you guys, you have to understand this. Cars would, the day after a GM true bankruptcy, I guarantee you the same amount of cars would have rolled off those lines the next day. No, but you can't say they were going to take.
They've done studies. Nobody's going to buy a bankrupt car because they can't be sure. It's not a one-year investment. It's a 10-year investment. So that would have just killed the auto industry. Which then the auto industry, $1 million jobs somehow are dependent on the auto industry, and they made a comeback.
Didn't GM just kill Mr. Goodwrench anyway? They killed Mr. Goodwrench. And they're still afloat.
And there were other options, Nancy. They could have said, you know what, we're going to keep GM in bankruptcy, let them do what they're going to do. We're going to keep our dirty hands off it, let the free market take care of itself. But you know what, if you really want to do something, we'll back some of the warranties. The government could have backed the warranties for one thousandth of the amount of money that they put into a GM bankruptcy and the UAW's pocket.
Peanuts. Wouldn't work. Peanuts. You need we have to make stuff in America, Eric. We can't just say that we are this built America. Do you understand that the auto industry made America a superpower? Because Henry Ford started paying $5 a day so his workers could buy those cars.
All right,
and then that's when the middle class got rich, and then we became a superpower. Are you just going to say, let us die, and then
I didn't say that. You weren't listening to me.
Make everything?
Nancy, we're friends. You're not listening to me. I said nothing would have changed. We'd have still manufactured cars, even if GM were to go bankrupt for real. We're going to have to leave. Nancy, I got to leave it there.
Cars.
I'm up against the break, an A break. All right, we have to leave it there with talk of a new national